Hello and welcome to Everyday Lessons Every Day. Based on my book by the same name, this podcast is for anyone who wants to learn, grow, and improve. When I was going through a difficult time back in 2018, I turned to self-improvement books to work on myself and my relationships. Committing to reading every day and applying the lessons I learned to my life literally saved me and my family. I've learned the power of personal development, and I want to share that with the world. To that end, I invite everyday people to share their everyday lessons and how those lessons are changing their lives for the better. This week, I sat down with Kristy Neick, who found herself struggling a bit with a self-diagnosed social media addiction. During our conversation, she talked about how she realized that she had a problem, how she decided to deal with it, and how she's doing today. This is episode 35, Social Media Detox with Kristy Neick. Kristy, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining me on Everyday Lessons Every Day.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. I appreciate you, and I think you're one of those really positive people that's all about self-improvement, so I'm excited to hear what you have to share with me today.
Oh, thanks. I'm always into trying to learn more about myself and become better, so I appreciate you saying that.
Well, before we start, would you just spend 1 minute or so telling the listeners a little bit about who you are and kind of your station in life, if you will?
Totally. So my name is Kristy Neick, which I know you know that, and I appreciate that. But my maiden name was Owens, so I was Kristy Owens my whole life. K.O. My mom's K.O. Sister was K.O. And now I'm Kristy Neick. Everyone messes up my last name. It rhymes with Mike, like, and bike. So thank you. I know that you knew it, but you in every conference I get introduced in, it's always Neick. So Kristy Neick, I'm going with it now. As far as who I am, I'm obviously a wife, and I have 2 boys. I swear to you, God knew what he was doing when he made me a boy mom. I think I've always been kind of a tomboy, and we're constantly going, whether it's basketball or football. We just got back from a ski trip, water skiing. I don't know, you name it, we're doing it. So we're just all over the place, wrestling, all the fun boy things that we get to do.
Your boys are really into Star Wars, aren't they?
My youngest, we had a lightsaber fight the other day. Yes, so he's into
My
Star Wars.
20-year-old just bought brand new lightsabers.
Ooh, I bet they're fancier than my 10-year-old.
They're from Galaxy's Edge. We haven't been able to get out there because of the pandemic, but he hired what they call a smuggler to go to Galaxy's Edge, buy him these lightsabers, and ship them to him.
This is amazing.
So this is what you have to look forward to. They don't grow out. They don't outgrow it.
Good. I'm glad, and I want to see these lightsabers that he has because that sounds kind of impressive.
I'll send you a picture later.
Okay, good. As far as me, professionally, I'm the director of sales at 2 major TV stations here in the Phoenix market. I was born and raised in Arizona, never left. I love it here. I plan on staying here. I really, really like this state. And I have a group of friends. I call them BFFs. And I know that's like cliche, but we were BFFs before BFFs was a thing. I went to grade school, high school, and college with these girls. Kind of helped define me as a person. They're like a second family to me. But the one thing I wanted to tell you is I have another group of friends. You become friends with your kids' friends' parents, if I said that right.
Yep.
That kind of becomes your circle because you're always doing sports and everything with them. So I've been blessed to get a new group of friends that I've been hanging out with for probably the last year or 2. And it was interesting because recently we were on a trip and one of the girls said, "I'm so happy you're in our group now. We needed someone like you." And I said, "What is that?" "Someone that's like free-spirited and open-minded." And she kind of described me as like a hippie or something, right? And I was like, "Wait, what?" She's like, "Well, you love energy work and earthing and grounding, and you love Chinese medicine and journaling and cryotherapy." And then I guess I was saging my friends on the trip, like literally saging them. So I guess that all makes sense, but I didn't realize I'd kind of turned into that a little bit, which I'm proud of, David. I'm not ashamed of it, but I thought it's kind of interesting what I've become over these years.
You use the word hippie. Is that what you think of it as?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's
granola, tree hugger, fruits and nuts. What is it?
Maybe. I'm going to call it free-spirited. That's how I'm going to do it. Hippie's not the right word, but very introspective and very into trying new things. And
so do you know what a chakra is?
Yes.
I don't. I feel like at some point in my 20s, I had my chakras adjusted, but I don't remember any of
Did you
like,
get energy work where they adjusted your chakras?
yeah,
There we go.
I
Amazing.
don't, I don't, I don't know if it worked, but I was, you know what? I was roommates with a modern day hippie. I'm going to say modern day hippie.
There we go. There we go.
And he always got his chakras adjusted. So I was like, I'll try it. But I remember thinking this was weird. I don't know.
I don't think you got the right chakras.
Anyway, enough about my chakras. I just wanted to say
Amazing.
the word chakra, I guess.
It's a fun one.
So I understand you have brought an interesting everyday lesson to the table today. This one didn't come from a book or a movie like so many of my other guests and myself over the years. You took it upon yourself to. I won't take away your story. So why don't you just share with everyone what your everyday lesson is and what your experience was?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. My everyday lessons from everyday life, I guess. I think I have been addicted to social media for longer than I want to admit to myself or to you. And it really became apparent during this pandemic and then with the political climate that we were in. And it really started to bother me just seeing a lot of things that people were posting and the nasty things people say to each other. And it was weighing heavy on my soul. And I think I am such a social person. I might be more of an extrovert than I knew, and the pandemic kind of brought that out. So if I couldn't see people, then I was on social media more than I had been before because that kind of gave me my social fill.
What do you mean by addicted, though? I mean, all of us spend lots of time doing the death scroll through Facebook and Instagram. What does addicted mean to you?
Well, addicted means, let me tell you this. I don't know what my screen time was because I turned it off. So I can't tell you times. And I won't say I was on it literally when I was at the dinner table with my family. I just know a healthy amount of social media. I know what that is. And I know I was on it too much. Like when there was downtime, I never just kind of adjusted my chakras. No, I never, I never relaxed. I was, if there's downtime, I'm filling it with social media. And like I said, I'm in a house full of boys. So they're watching sports at night or they're watching, I'm going to call them boy shows. We're watching Avenger movies or, we're always watching boy shows. And so sometimes I'm not as interested and I would just go on my phone and scroll through social media instead of, being there with them, even though everybody's watching TV, just like I'm filling time when I don't need to be filling time with social media.
Let me ask you this. When you were driving, did you ever pick up your phone at stoplights and look at social media?
Yes,
And what about in the bathroom? I'll bet you can't go to the bathroom without your phone.
I do now, but yeah, I mean, yeah.
So every little free moment, you just found yourself sucked into that screen.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever complain to you about it?
For the most part, no, but we were on a trip one time in Hawaii, and my son said, Mom, you haven't put your phone down since we got here. And I was crushed. I mean, here we are in Hawaii, staying at the Ritz-Carlton. It was so gorgeous. And he called me out. And I knew at that moment, like, okay, there's a problem. And it's funny, my husband said, I had some weird dreams last night. And I said, what were they? And amongst many, he said, you were on your phone and our house is getting broken into and you didn't get off your phone. And
Oh
I
my
know that was
God.
a dream, right? But I'm like, oh dear, there's a problem.
That's like that moment in near the end of December when I can't button my pants. And I'm like, okay, things got a little out of control over the last couple months. And it's like this light bulb goes on, right? Is that what you felt?
Yes, I think, and if it wasn't for, I think so much of the negativity that I saw, and I've watched Social Dilemma, and I kind of knew, I watched that, and a lot of people were like, "Whoa, that was crazy." For me, I'm like that. I guess we're in the advertising industry, right? We know things, maybe we see things maybe a little bit differently, but um, it didn't rock me to my core. But I was like, yeah, that's happening, and really, it was during all of the political posts and people being so rude to each other that I knew I needed to step back, and that was kind of my defining moment of like, okay, this is out of control.
So it wasn't just that you were on social media a lot, it was that social media kind of changed this year and it became less of a fun place to be.
Yeah, definitely that was my wake up call, I would say.
Okay. So what did you do?
So the month of January, I did a social media detox, and I just said I was going to be off for the entire month of January. I got a girlfriend to do it with me. She says, I'm in, I'll do it with you. And I was excited because I really wanted that accountability partner and someone to make sure that I stayed off of it. Well, literally a day into it, she texted me and was like, I forgot it's Girl Scout cookie season, and I sell my daughter's Girl Scout cookies on Facebook a lot, so I can't join you. No problem. No problem. I got this. So I detoxed by myself. I actually posted on Facebook and Instagram, taking a month off. And then I have text my BFFs and I said, hey, you guys are going to get a lot of pictures and text from me because I'm used to either putting this on my story or Facebook or my Instagram. So bear with me. And let me just say real quick, I don't post much. I post maybe twice a month on Facebook, maybe twice a month on Instagram. I do like Facebook stories or Instagram stories, but I'm not like a giant, it's not like I'm on there all the time. Um, so anyways, I decided to detox. I'd say the first 2 weeks I was jonesing for some social media. I had to delete the apps off my phone because I would find myself automatically going and pulling up either Facebook or Instagram. And so I knew right away I had to delete the apps. So I deleted the apps. And then the first 2 weeks, it was hard. I was literally, we would be at dinner. I'd take a cute picture of my son, send it to my girlfriend, say, oh, look how cute he is. Or take a picture of my other son playing football and send it to my dad and say, oh, watch this great video. And which I really liked because I was connecting more with the people that mattered versus sending it out to everyone that may or may not care. But either way, it was nice to like kind of have that one-on-one, if you will, contact. I would say by week 3, I felt detoxed. Like I didn't need to check it anymore. Facebook and Instagram does this magical thing, which you may know, I didn't. Hey, Kristy, someone tagged a photo of you. I'm like, what picture is it? What do I look like? What did they tag? Or Kristy, someone mentioned you in their post. So David has a very interesting Instagram post you might want to see, and it'll tell you, whatever people that post often that you watch, it'll tell you, oh, so and so posted. So it kind of tries to reel you back in. The one that got me was someone tagged me in a photo, and I didn't know what picture it was. I hadn't been out. I don't know what picture it was. I actually still don't know what that was, but that kind of lures you back in a bit. So
So that broke you? Did you go back into Facebook to see?
that did not break me.
Oh, good.
I did not. I didn't go back in. I was good. I knew I had like a week left. So finally, end of January comes, and I was really excited to get to February and finally be able to check it. Well, February comes. It's like February 1st. I didn't get back on. February 2nd, didn't get back on. I don't know if it was like the 3rd or 4th of February, I finally got back on, and I felt anxiety getting back on. I really felt a bit of sadness, but yet I missed it. I don't know how to describe that. That might sound strange, but
Wait, before you dive into what happened when you got back on, what was the big result of the detox? What changed in your life?
I became more present with my family, would be the biggest one. I did things like when everyone was watching TV, I picked up a magazine and flipped through a magazine. I hadn't done so in years. I started calling my mom more, my sister more, my dad more, texting my friends directly more. I will be honest, I feel like I felt a reduced sense of anxiety overall. I don't know where it comes from necessarily, but I just felt calmer and more at peace and less here's one, less pictures. So I'm a picture taker. I always have been. I love pictures, videos, but the amount of pictures I took in January are a lot less compared to other months. Obviously, because I think often I take pictures maybe to post, right? And I took pictures of things I wanted and less pictures of other things. And I was surprised to see how many less pictures or videos I took.
So you were more just experiencing life and thinking a lot less about how to document it?
Yes. Have you ever gone to a place and again, this might just be a me thing, but ooh, this would be a really good picture place for a post. I would love that. Would be really cool. You don't think like that when you're not on social media. You enjoy the moment and you don't need to have a picture perfect background or smiles on your family's faces.
Actually, I have a story that kind of fits in line with this. So I have a whole Instagram just for my Jeep. And I know that sounds absolutely crazy, but because I wrote a children's book about, going off road, it's a great place to promote the book. And so I document all my Jeep trips on this Instagram. It's DJ's Off-Road Adventures. And I've found myself when I go off-road thinking, ooh, I've got to get video of this moment, or I've got to get this perfect picture of the Jeep with the sunset behind it, or whatever it is, right? And then there are other times when I say to myself, you know what? Forget the GoPro and the drone and the iPhone pictures. I'm just going to experience this day. I'm just going to go off road with my friends and forget about documenting it. And it's in those moments, I think, that I experience the trip better for myself. And it sounds like that might have been what your January was like. You quit thinking about how to document and publish your life and just lived it.
Well, I agree. There's like, I'm a sunset, sunrise person. I could be in any kind of mood. If I see this, I mean, especially Arizona sunsets, it's gorgeous. And I'll find myself taking pictures of a beautiful sunset, right? Not experiencing that beautiful sunset. And yes, it takes away from a lot of it. And to your point, like whether it's your Jeep page or your own personal page, you have a persona that you become and you want to be. And maybe you work more to be that on social media than you would even care about in just general life. And I think it's important just to be true and authentic to yourself and not worry about the perfect picture, perfect background, whatever that might be.
Okay, so it sounds like this detox was very good for you. You learned an everyday lesson, which was what?
Well, whether I think it's social media for you, for me, it was social media. I knew that I had a bit of an addiction, but yours might not be, or other people's may be something else. It's step away when you know something's unhealthy, detox, and then set your boundaries and be your best self on whatever it is. I don't want to yet eliminate social media completely from my life, but guess what? Now I have 15-minute daily limits. And at the first week I was back on, I had to go to my 12-year-old son and say, something's wrong with my limits because it's not telling me I'm over time. And he went to my phone and he said, Mom, you've been on Facebook and Instagram for a total of 7 minutes today. That's why. And I was like, oh, this is phenomenal. I didn't realize that. But slowly and surely it started to creep up, right? So where I get my time limit and I have to say, okay, I'm at my 15 minutes, I'm good. Well, guess what? I went to Telluride a couple weeks ago and it's beautiful and we're skiing with the family and the scenery is just breathtaking. And so I post once on Facebook, once on Instagram, a little bit on Facebook stories. And guess what, David? It says your time limit is up. And I said, ignore for today. And I ignored my limits.
Mm.
And the next day I posted and I said, ignore for today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm now fit. I did this detox. I am feeling healthy and I'm slowly but quickly getting right back into this. And I felt frustrated with myself.
So what'd you do?
I think I accepted a few that I'm going to, what I think I've told myself, and I don't know that I would have said this before, is if there's a couple times a month that I go even unlimited for the day, which is, not if I'm not going to be crazy like I used to, then that's okay. But for the most part, I mean, again, yesterday I didn't get any limits set on me. I got off before my 15 minutes and I'm going to have some grace with myself, I think.
As someone who is currently dieting to try and make up for being Jabba the Hutt in November and December, I feel like there are so many parallels. Like the other day, I really wanted to eat something that was really unhealthy, and I let myself, right? And the scale reflected it the next day. But 3 or 4 days later, I was kind of back on track. And I think it's okay to have those moments where someone might say you're being weak or indulging, but I say you're just kind of letting go. And it's okay to let go a little bit as long as you can stay on track overall. So do you feel like you did that in the month of February?
I do. Well, I think if you asked me 2 weeks ago, I felt like I fell off a little bit because it was 2 days that I took my, time limits off social media and hadn't done anything like that before. But yes, I agree. And I think if you restrict too much, you wanted that Girl Scout cookie, you wanted whatever that was that you ate, and then your body just kind of, it wants it more, right? So I think it's okay. I don't have to be super stringent and cut everything out of my life and cut all carbs out of your life or whatever that might look like. Just have some grace as long as you can get back. And the second you feel like, okay, now I'm being overindulgent with anything, get back on track.
So it really comes down to balance.
Yes, and acknowledgement and paying attention, because when you're addicted or doing something too much. And yeah, it comes down to balance and paying attention to that.
For me, I lost 30 pounds in my 40s, and I got down a pant size. And I told myself, I know people gain weight when they lose this much, right? They gain it back. And so what I'm going to do is I'm never, ever going to buy bigger pants. Okay, so it's like, if you can't button your pants, you got to be good. Now, to be fair, I do have a couple of stretchy pairs that I probably wore too much in December, but my goal was to be able to button my jeans. And once I realized that I could be disciplined with a few cheat days here or there, and as long as I can stay in those pants, that's like my barometer, if you will. So for you with the social media, for anyone listening who is addicted to something, what do you think is that moment when you know you've gone too far and you need to reel it back in?
I think no matter what. Let me give you a different example, not social media, but for me, if I just say had a glass of wine with my girlfriends or a couple of glasses of wine with my girlfriends, I'm fine with that. We're out celebrating, hanging out. But if I find that I'm having a glass of wine at night to numb my pain from a day that was really, really stressful, and it's one glass of wine, I'm not talking five, or maybe you are, but you know your intentions, you know what feels right and what doesn't feel right. And to really pay attention to that and obey yourself. Yes, we can, like you said, we can all do things sometimes that we go, that wasn't the best. Let me get back on track. But really, you and I know if we're doing something that we should correct.
You actually just sparked a memory in me when you brought it around to the wine analogy. In her book, Girl, Wash Your Face, Rachel
One of my
Hollis,
favorites.
you know that one. So you know where I'm going with this, right? She said, I need a glass of wine. And she knew when she said the word, I need it, that it had gone too far.
Yes.
So if I say I need some Girl Scout cookies, then that's a problem, right? If you say I need to look at Facebook, then that's probably a real red flag that there's an issue.
Yes. And something that you had said to me before, it really, and I can't say it, you'll have to say it. I think Mel Robbins was talking about what your Facebook is like a real estate listing. Can you say that again? Because that was profound to me.
Yeah, she said it's not like real life, right? You only post this staged home, like the perfect pictures of your home. But you and I both know if I walked into your home on any given Saturday, it's just not going to look like that. So when we're looking at someone's social media, what we're seeing is only what they really want to portray. They're not posting their real life, and no one really does.
Right.
So it gives us this false sense of what our lives should be like. Like there's a whole nother conversation to have about the negative impact of social media.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we are posting our best selves, our prettiest smile, our cleanest house, however you want, my adorable puppy, right? But I'm not, and maybe I'll post funny things too, or a towel on your head, as you did, like funny, but we're posting our best self. And you look or you see these great vacations, granted it's mainly pre-pandemic, but it's going to come back quickly, these amazing vacations that everyone are on, all the great things that they're doing, and you get this a FOMO or why aren't I doing that? And so I think when I said I got off and my anxiety reduced, it really did, because I wasn't comparing all the time or wasn't trying to be my best picture perfect self. There's a relief in that.
Yeah, it's a little easier to be a regular house than a staged house, isn't it?
Totally.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share, or any takeaways that you want the listeners to have from this moment? Here's the real question. Do you think other people should go on a social media detox?
If needed, I think they absolutely should. And not like a week or two, like do a month. And if you need an accountability partner, grab one that's not selling Girl Scout cookies for the month. Yes, I think if you have a social media, any kind of addiction, take a month, step away. I feel like a lot of people have been doing it, and I've not heard one bad thing other than I feel so much better, and I've not been on as much since. I mean, eventually in my life. So I'm on LinkedIn. I like that professionally. I really use that a lot. But as far as Facebook and Instagram, I would like to phase it out, eventually not be on it. I don't know when that would be. I'm going to say in a year or so down the road, or as long as I can just maintain it and be on it very minimally. And maybe not even have to have 15-minute daily limits because I don't need them. That would be my goal.
I wish you the best of luck in achieving that goal.
Thank you.
So if someone was inspired by you today and they did want to reach out, would LinkedIn be the way to do that?
Yeah, reach out to me. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's Kristy Neick on LinkedIn.
Will you spell your last name one more time?
Neick.
Actually, you should probably mention that Kristy's with a K too, and a
I
Y.
should.
Because you know what? Just start over. How do you spell your name?
Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's Kristy Neick, Kristy. Neick is Neick.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed this conversation, and I may have to think about taking a little break from social media myself. So you inspired me today.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, my friends, did that resonate with you? Do you have a social media problem? Maybe Kristy's experience will help you, maybe inspire you to do a detox of your own. Or maybe you could care less about social media. You have no problem with it whatsoever, but you're obsessed with something else. Maybe it's video games or romance novels or Netflix or wine or even work or podcasts. Anything in excess could be detrimental. Listen to your self-talk. If you catch yourself saying, I need, insert your obsession here, then it may be a problem. By the way, if you liked this episode, you might also enjoy episode number 16 called Your Phone is the Devil. So check that one out when you get a chance. Until next week, I challenge you, write Detox on your wrist. If you feel that your obsession is distracting you from living your best life, consider stepping back, taking a break, and seeing what life looks like without the obsession. You may find yourself feeling less anxiety and connecting more with friends and family. Let me know what happens when you implement this lesson by using the hashtag EverydayLessonsEveryday or by reaching out to me directly at david@davidmcbee.com. If you liked this episode, please share it. Let's see if together we can make the world a better place. I'll see you next time. Now go out there and do something awesome.